Recently, you watched the video about the full entry list lineup at GTP, LMP2 and GTD Pro class. And with Iron Dames announcing Dorian Pund for the Rolex 24 race, we finally have all the drivers confirmed for the IMSA opener season. And in this video, you will discover all the 92 drivers among 23 cars which will be competing at the 24 Hours of Daytona race. So let's check now all the drivers in the GTD class. The first team in this list is Vasser Sullivan number 12. Besides being in the GTD Pro class, Vasser Sullivan will also be competing in the GTD class with Lexus RCF GT3 car. After finishing in the third place in the championship last season, the team commanded by Jimmy Vasser and James Sullivan wants to be stronger than in 2023 and to be the GTD champion this year. So let's discover the drivers' lineup for this season. Frankie Montecalvo remains as the full season driver at car number 12. And compared to the 2023 season, we had a swap between the second full season driver and a third one to the Endurance's races. For this year, Parker Thompson becomes the full season driver, while Aaron Telitz joins only for the Michelin Endurance Cup rounds. And the fourth driver exclusive for the Rolex 24 is Ritamo Miyata. The Japanese driver was Super Formula and Super GT 500 class champion in 2023, and we need to take a look at him. The second team in this list is AWA. AWA in the IMSA 2023 season competed at LMP3. But with this class not competing this year at WeatherTech Sportscar Championship, the Canadian team needed to move to the GTD class. AWA in this season will be Corvette's customer team in the IMSA GTD class, and like the Pratt Miller Motorsports, they will also have two cars. So let's check now the drivers' lineup. First, the car number 13. Ori Fidani and Matt Bell are the full season drivers. Lars Kern joins for the Michelin Endurance Cup rounds. And the WEC Cadillac driver Alex Lynn joins only for Daytona. Now the car number 17. Anthony Mantella and Nico Veron are the full season drivers. Thomas Merrill joins for the Michelin Endurance Cup rounds. And Charlie Eastwood joins only for Daytona. The next team is AF Corse number 21. Unlike Vasser Sullivan and AWA, AF Corse will only compete at Michelin Endurance Cup rounds with the Ferrari 296 GT3 car. So let's discover who will be the drivers. Simon Mann, Francois Heriot, and Miguel Molina will be competing at every endurance races, while Kei Cozzolino joins only for Daytona. Now let's talk about the Triarsi Competizione. Like AF Corse, Triarsi Competizione is also competing only at Michelin Endurance Cup rounds in Daytona, Sebring, Watkins Glen, Indianapolis, and Road Atlanta. This team will also use a Ferrari 296 GT3 car. And about the drivers, Onofrio Triarsi, Charles Scardina, Alessio Ravera, and Riccardo Agostini will be competing for them at the Rolex 24 race. The next one is the Heart of Racing team number 27. Like Vasser Sullivan, Heart of Racing is also competing either at GTD Pro and also in GTD class. After being runner-up in 2023, the Washington-based team now will fight strongly for the championship title this year with a new Evo version of Aston Martin Vantage AMR GT3. So let's check now the drivers' lineup. The team principal Ian James becomes a full-season driver this year after only competing at endurance rounds last season, replacing Marco Sorensen, who will be competing only at Daytona. Another full-season driver is Roman De Angelis. Zachary Robichon joins the team coming from Wright Motorsports and will compete for the Michelin Endurance Cup rounds only. The next team is Korthoff Preston Motorsports number 32. That's one more team which is also remaining for one more season at GTD class and will keep using the Mercedes-AMG GT3 Evo car. And about the drivers' lineup, there will be no changes compared to the last season. Mike Skeen and Michael Grenier remain as the full season drivers, with Kenton Cope competing only at endurance rounds and Maximilian Gitz joining at Daytona exclusively. Now let's talk about the Conquest Racing number 34. This is a new entry at GTD class if we compare it to the 2023 season in IMSA. However, it's the return of Conquest Racing since 2012 when they competed at LMP2 class in the American Le Mans Series. Conquest Racing will be the only full-season team to operate a Ferrari 296 GT3 at IMSA Weathertech Sportscar Championship this year. So let's check now the drivers lineup. The full season drivers will be Manny Franco and Albert Costa. Cedric Spirazzulli joins for the Michelin Endurance Cup races, and Alessandro Balzan will be competing only at Daytona. Now the Andretti Motorsports number 43. In the 2023 season, Andretti Motorsports competed with the Aston Martin Vantage car at GTD class in sprint races. For this year, a Porsche 911 GT3 car will be used instead with number 43. And let's talk about the drivers' lineup. Jared Andretti and Gabby Chavez remain at the team for one more year and will be the full season drivers. Scott Hargrove will be the endurance driver. And the fourth one only for Daytona is Thomas Preining, who was DTM champion in 2023 and expects to increase the level in the GTD class. The next team is Magnus Racing number 44. Unlike in 2023 when they competed in selected races, in this year Magnus Racing will be a full season team in WeatherTech Sportscar Championship and will still be using an Aston Martin Vantage AMR GT3 but with an Evo version. And like Korthoff Preston Motorsports, there will also be no changes in its driver lineups. So let's check now. John Potter and Andy Lally were chosen to be the full season drivers. Spencer Pompelli will compete at Michelin Endurance Cup rounds, while Nicky Tim only for the Daytona race. Now Wayne Taylor racing with Andretti number 45. In last season, this team competed as Racers Edge Motorsports with Wayne Taylor using an Acura NSX GT3 Evo 22 but in selected races. For this year, the team was renamed as Wayne Taylor Racing with Andretti and will be competing full season with Lamborghini Huracan GT3 Evo 2. So let's check the drivers now. Kyle Marcelli and Danny Formel are the full season drivers, while Graham Doyle joins for the Michelin Endurance Cup rounds and Ashton Harrison at Daytona only. The next team is Cetilar Racing number 47. This is another team which will only compete at Michelin Endurance rounds instead of full season. Like in 2023, Cetilar Racing will again use a Ferrari 296 GT3 car. Now let's talk about the drivers. Roberto Lacorte, Giorgio Saneggiato, Eddie Chiva III, and the WEC Ferrari AF Corse driver Antonio Fuoco will be competing for the Cetilar Racing in Daytona. Now Proton competition number 55. Besides in WEC LMP2 class, Proton competition will also compete at IMSA Gtd class full season with a Ford Mustang GT3 car. And about the drivers' lineup, Gianmarco Leverato and Corey Lewis will compete full season, while Ryan Hardwick joins for the endurance races and Dennis Olsen only at Daytona. The next team is Winward Racing number 57. After a complicated 2023 season, Winward Racing wants to overcome the situation and to be stronger this year to fight for the victories consistently. The Texas-based team will still be using a Mercedes-AMG GT3 Evo car. Now let's check the drivers. Russell Ward and Philip Ellis will remain as the full season drivers this year, while Indy Dodge joins for the endurance rounds and Daniel Morad only for Daytona. The next one is Gradient Racing number 66. In the 2024 season, Gradient Racing will be the only team to use an Acura NSX GT3 Evo 22 after Racers Edge Motorsports was renamed as Wayne Taylor Racing with Andretti and decided to use a Lamborghini GT3 car. And for this year, the Austin-based team will have an almost full female drivers lineup. Let's discover now. The 2023 full-season duo drivers Catherine Legg and Sheena Monk will still be competing this year at GTD class. The third driver for the endurance rounds is also a woman who is Tatiana Calderon. And for Daytona, Gradient Racing will not be a full female team because the fourth driver will be Stephen McAleer. Now the Inception Racing number 70. With ups and downs in the 2023 season, this year Inception Racing wants to fight strongly for the victories at GTD, which could mean the first victory of McLaren 720S GT3 Evo in this class at IMSA. So let's talk about the drivers. Inception kept Frederick Schandorf and Brendan Iribe as the full season drivers. Ali Milroy also remains as an endurance driver this year. Only the fourth driver for Daytona is different because it's Tom Gamble, because Marvin Kirchhofer became FAF Motorsports full-season driver at GTD Pro class. Next team is number 78 Forte Racing. After finishing the last season winning Petit Le Mans at GTD class, Forte Racing has pretensions to win races consistently this year after great learnings with the Lamborghini Huracan GT3 Evo 2. So let's check the drivers now. The duo Misha Goikhberg and Laura Spinelli were kept for one more full season in the team. Devlin DeFrancesco joins for the endurance rounds, while Sandy Mitchell only at Daytona. Now the Lone Star Racing number 80. After competing only at the Indianapolis round in 2023, Lone Star Racing this year will be competing only for the Michelin Endurance Cup rounds with a Mercedes-AMG GT3 Evo. Scott Andrews, Sally Yalik, and Rui Andrade will be joining for all the endurance rounds, while Adam Christodoulou will compete only at Daytona. The next one is Iron Dames number 83. Iron Dames was the last team to reveal its full driver lineup for the Rolex 24 2024 edition without any surprises. After a historical win at 8 Hours of Bahrain in WEC GT AM class, the Iron Dames want to take a great next step and to win the 24 Hours of Daytona, which could mean the first female team to win a Rolex 24 race in history. Like in 2023, a Lamborghini Huracan GT3 Evo 2 will be used this year at Michelin Endurance Cup rounds. Michelle Gadding, Sarah Bovey, Rahel Fry, and Dorian Pun will be the drivers at Iron Dames number 83. The next team is MDK Motorsports number 86. Initially, MDK Motorsports would have two cars competing at Rolex 24 at Daytona this year. However, the team decided to withdraw the number 53 and will have only the number 86. Last season, MDK Motorsports only competed at Daytona in the GTD Pro class, and this year will be a full season team at GTD using a Porsche 911 GT3 R992. Karonli and Anders Fjordbot will be the full season drivers, while Klaus Bachler will be joining at endurance races and Larry Ten Vorta only at Daytona. The next team is Kellymoss with Riley number 92. Like the MDK Motorsports case, Kellymoss with Riley would also have two cars competing at the Rolex 24. However, the team decided to withdraw the number 91 at the last minute because the car wasn't ready in time and will have only the number 92 with a Porsche 911 GT3 or 992 car. Now let's talk about the drivers. Alec Udall and David Brule will be the full season drivers. Trent Hindman and Julian Andlauer joined the team for the Rolex 24 at Daytona race. Now the penultimate team in this list is Turner Motorsport number 96. Unlike was in 2023, Turner Motorsport will have only a single BMW M4 GT3, which is a shame in my opinion because we will only have a single car from the Munich manufacturer in the GTD class. Now let's talk about the drivers. Robbie Foley and Patrick Gallagher are the full season drivers. A young 17-year-old Jake Walker joins the endurance rounds after competing at Lamborghini Super Trofeo North America Series in 2023. And for Daytona only, the fourth driver will be Jens Klingman. And finally, the Wright Motorsports number 120. For the 2024 season, Wright Motorsports comes very different compared to the last year because they're going to use the number 120 and will also change the driver's lineup. So let's check it now. For the full season, the drivers will be Adam Adelson and Elliott Skier, who come from GT World Challenge North America Series. Yen Heilin remains the team, but only for the Michelin Endurance Cup rounds, and the WEC Porsche Penske driver Fred Makowiecki joins only for the Daytona race. So these are all the drivers which will compete at GTD class in the Rolex 24 round at Daytona at IMSA Weathertech Sportscar Championship. Who's going to win the season opener in the GTD class? For which team are you going to support most in Daytona and also for the full season? So let me know down in the comment sections. If you're interested in more content about IMSA and WEC, please consider subscribing to the channel. We see you in the next videos.